All right, let's dive right in. We're about to tackle a really wild idea, something that comes from a text that's thousands of years old. And it's all about this. What if you could literally hack your own reality? We're going to unpack an ancient framework that claims you can see an entire universe in a single speck of dust. Yeah. And we'll explore what that could possibly mean for how you see your own world right now.
So this is the core claim, and it comes from the Avatamsaka Sutra. Now, get this isn't supposed to be some pretty metaphor. The sutra is suggesting that reality itself is structured like a hologram. Where every single tiny piece contains all the information of the whole picture. An entire cosmos, everything that's ever happened and ever could happen, all packed into one tiny particle. It's a staggering idea.
Which brings us to the obvious question. How is that even possible? I mean, it completely flies in the face of our everyday experience, right? We see a world of separate, solid things. So is this just, some beautiful mystical poetry? Or is it describing a totally different way of perceiving reality? Well, that's what we're here to unpack. And the answer isn't magic. It's a system.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, the source material gives us a pretty cool analogy. It says to think of this not as a belief system, but as an operating system for your consciousness. Let's call it the Bodhisattva OS. And just like upgrading the OS on your phone, this is a framework designed to upgrade your perception, to render a completely different kind of reality. So what is this Bodhisattva OS? Well, think of it as a model for shifting your perception. It takes you from seeing a world of separate, solid objects, a cup here, a table there, a person over there, and instead lets you see a dynamic, totally interconnected field where every single point reflects every other point. It's literally a cognitive software upgrade.
Okay, so like any piece of sophisticated software, this OS has its core components, the parts that make it run. We can actually break it down into three essential parts. You've got the connection, the central processor, and the power supply. So first up, you need what we can call an API. That's your connection, your way into the system. It could be a guide, a teacher, a source of wisdom. Then, second, you need the engine. This is a state of really profound, unbroken concentration. And third, you need the power source. This is a deep, powerful motivation, a vow even, that fuels the whole thing. And that first part, the API, it's absolutely critical. The idea here is that you can't just figure this all out by yourself in a vacuum. To access this level of perception, you have to connect to an external source of knowledge, a teacher, a text, some kind of guiding principle. This connection is literally how you log in to the system. It's your access point.
And what about the engine? Well, this isn't about, just trying really hard to focus for a couple of minutes. The source talks about a state called samadhi. This is a deep meditative state of total, continuous, unbroken absorption. It's a state where your mind becomes so steady and powerful that it's like a super processor, capable of rendering reality in a completely new way. Think of the difference between a clunky old dial-up modem and a quantum computer. That's the kind of upgrade we're talking about.
So what happens when you've got it all working? The API is connected, the engine is humming, and the whole system is powered up. Well, the output is a completely different world, a reality that seems to operate on a whole new set of principles.
You start to see what the source calls a fractal reality. And this brings us right back to that quote from the beginning. In a fractal, if you zoom in on any tiny piece, you find the same complexity and structure as the entire thing. That's the holographic view in a nutshell. The atom reflects the universe, and a single moment contains all of eternity.
This really highlights the massive shift in perception we're talking about. So our default human OS, right? It sees a world of separate things, and we just assume that's objective reality. But the upgraded Bodhisattva OS, it renders a world of interconnected projections, and it reveals that reality isn't objective at all. It's something else entirely.
And this is the real game changer. The idea is that the world you experience is a karmic projection. Now, in this context, karma just means action. It's the grand total of all your past thoughts, your words, your deeds. So your reality is like a movie being rendered by this internal projector of your own history. It's not some fixed external place. And the implication is huge. If you can change the inner workings of the projector, the entire world on the screen changes right along with it. Okay, I know that's a pretty mind-bending concept, but what's really interesting is that the source material doesn't just leave this as some high-level philosophy. It actually offers a kind of practical user guide for how you can start to apply this model in your own life. So here are the 4 basic steps. First, find your API. Connect with a source of wisdom. Could be a teacher, a practice, a set of texts.
Second, train your focus engine. You can do this through things like single tasking or meditation. Third, define your power source. What is your core purpose, your great vow? And finally, number 4, start to observe your reality as a projection. Just watch how your inner state seems to shape your outer world. But, and this is a really important piece of advice from the source, you've got to manage your expectations. This is described as a trans-kalpa project. Now, a kalpa is an ancient word for an eon. We're talking an unimaginably long period of time. So this whole endeavor is seen as something that spans lifetimes, not just a few weeks or months. The goal isn't some quick fix. It's about engaging in a process that operates on a timescale far, far beyond our own. And yet, progress isn't always this slow, gradual climb. The framework also suggests that awakening, that cognitive upgrade we talked about, can happen in a leap. It's not always about slowly climbing a hill. It can be a sudden breakthrough, a moment where the operating system just reboots, and bam, you're suddenly seeing things from a whole new dimension. So we're left with this question. If this model holds any truth, if reality really is a projection, and if every one of your thoughts is like a piece of code generating that world, then all of the power is right there, in your hands. You're the architect. And the only real question left is, what kind of world are you going to build?